Health and wellness are more than a destination. They are a process and a journey of personal choice. Come hear from people out in the field, doing the work, bringing health and wellness to many. Hi, welcome everyone. We're so excited today to have with us Kirsten Schultz, and she is a neurosomatic trainer and coach and also a theologian. That's so wonderful. Can you tell me a little bit about what brought you here to this moment, both professionally and spiritually?
I'll go back to my childhood. I was a little sensitive girl and I was brought up in a nice family, but my parents were having some difficulties together. And so I was always in the middle, trying to translate, he means that, she means that, and they didn't understand each other that much. So that resulted in, well, actually not a very nice childhood, not so much. They ended up dying at an early age. I was 23 when my mother died, 28 when my father died. And that was of course difficult, but it brought me to a sense of curiosity. Why do people do this? Why do people, when they have trauma, for instance, some people get over it and are very inspiring to other people, but there's also people that are getting ill and dying too soon. And what's the difference? Why do we have this? So that brought me on this path of self-discovery. And I studied 2 years of anthropology. That wasn't really it for me. Then I went over to theology, what actually was a little bit strange for me because I'm not a Christian at all. I'm actually a little bit, how do you say, not very fond of the system of the church.
Yeah, so you're more into the spiritual aspect.
Exactly. Yeah. And the interesting thing was that there was a professor there at the University of Amsterdam who was giving Western esoterics. So that's what I did. I studied there. I graduated in the work of Ken Wilber. I'm not sure if you know him. He's an American author who synthesizes the Eastern and Western philosophy and psychology. And there I found my way into the evolution of consciousness, actually. So that was for me when things came really together. But I also knew that I'm not a scholar. I'm not so much, I like to read, but I'm not a scholar. I wanted to work practically with people. So after my university study, I studied hypnotherapy. And there I came into contact with neurosemantics. And I went to the United States to be trained by Michael Hall, who is the founder of neurosemantics. I became a coach and a trainer and a teacher. And that set me off into the world of coaching.
Beautiful.
So I was a teacher for a long time. I teach these coaching methodologies to therapists and coaches. And then I made my own methodology. And that's what I teach right now with my company, Mind of Your Own. And then 1 year ago, or almost 1.5 years ago, we came into contact with the Harmonic Egg.
Wonderful.
And actually we saw this interview with Gil Lynn. And then I said to my husband, Maarten, I would like to have this egg.
Nice.
And so
it all worked out.
It all worked out together.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that neurosemantic training that you do? I'm very curious.
Yes, it's very interesting. We all live by subconscious patterns. And when we are 0 to 7 years, we absorb everything that our parents teaches us or the environment we live in teaches us. And we form like a blueprint, you could say, a blueprint in our subconscious, which involves beliefs, meanings, associations, intentions, things we value. And they become like the map of the map that we navigate through. And most people never make this map conscious. So they navigate through life with a subconscious map which came to them when they were little. So in order for us to become the true manifestors of our life, the conscious manifestors of our life, it's very important that we make this blueprint conscious and that we can change it. Because when we are little, we start believing things about ourselves, about our capabilities, about other people that might not serve us that well. So I help, and the neurosemantic training helps people to create a better map of the world, to change their belief system in their subconscious in order for them to self-actualize, to live their potential.
So we know a lot, and I've spoken to so many people, and that's my work also, to help people to really make the unconscious conscious, right? And until we can do that, we really won't manifest very easily. But that's where the future is.
Exactly.
Can you share a little bit how you feel about that?
Well, I actually think that we are already great manifestors, but that we manifest things that we don't want out of fear. And in order for us to really move to this fifth dimension where we're at the moment, it's very important that we create consciously and that we create in tune with our higher self. And I think this is the next step of our evolution, actually, that we as people learn how to do this.
Yeah.
So we can't skip this phase. I hear a lot of people say that we just need to stop thinking or, become more childlike. I actually don't really agree with them. I think it's very important to master our own mindset in order for us to move through the fifth dimension, because otherwise we manifest things that we really don't want.
Yeah. And we obviously have to become, I always say, more whole, right? Because there's some parts of us that are we have not accepted and we have denied, and
Exactly.
and all of this is being kind of programmed in the subconscious. So
Exactly.
I think it's very, very beautiful, the work you're doing.
Thank you.
It's lovely.
Yes.
I really admire it. So let's talk a little bit about the Harmonic Egg, because it's definitely a new time. I mean, we're in this time where all these new technologies are coming, and people really probably don't understand how powerful they are. So what made you intrigued, actually, when you saw Galen, when you saw this Harmonic Egg?
I think it's the combination of all different sorts of energy. My entrance is the mind. With Mind of Your Own, it's more the mind, but I see that we are operating at different levels. So we have this physical body, we have the emotional and the mind, we have the soul, and we have the quantum field. And this Harmonic Egg, what intrigues me, and this energy healing modality, that it combines all these levels, that you tune into all these different levels and you can harmonize them. Actually, that's something that's really intriguing to me, and I just felt a sense of this is true, this needs to be done. And it was actually kind of funny because we never sat in a Harmonic Egg because it wasn't possible. We couldn't travel to the United States
because of COVID, right?
Yes, because of COVID.
Yes.
There was no Harmonic Egg in the Netherlands nor in Europe, so we were the first.
Amazing.
But we just both had the sense we need to do this. Oh. And I think some friends of ours thought we had become crazy, that we invested this money in this thing that we have never tried out. But it actually, we followed our intuition, and it has been really great.
It's really beautiful because you can see now there are many, many coming to Europe. So
yes.
You were the first, but there are more and more. And
Yeah.
I think people are just opening after the whole experience of the last 3 years. You know, the old solutions are not necessarily working the same.
No, exactly.
People are questioning. So this seems to be a really amazing technology that will help so many people. So I'm very curious about how you work with someone with it. So can you share that? How has it changed your work?
Well, actually, my work has become more whole. My main entrance was the mind, and through the mind we influence the body, we influence the soul, and we influence the quantum field. But the Harmonic Egg has another entrance. It's more an energetic entrance, and so I have discovered the human experience from a different entrance point. And also, what it helps me is that I can I have become more transparent and more sensitive and more tuned into the quantum field, actually, even more. So I've grown, in a more multi-dimensional, you could say.
Great. You're more aware.
Much more aware and much more sensitive. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that quantum field. For the viewers who are saying, what is a quantum field? How would you explain that?
Well, actually, it's we have to know that everything is made out of energy. So this table is actually energy, our body is actually energy, and sound, light, form, everything is energy. And we are embedded in this huge field of energy, which encompasses everything, and it connects everything. So we are actually connected on a quantum field level, and so is everything else. So everything is connected to each other, everything influences each other, and our consciousness is a part of this quantum field. So when we think thoughts, or we believe things, or we expect things, we send out a vibration, and the quantum field mirrors this vibration and brings it back to us in the form of experiences, relationships, situations. So it's actually one big mirror.
So when things are coming at you that you're not so happy with, that's also a mirror for you, right?
Yes, exactly.
To look at it, because then the subconscious is giving the wrong program, the program you don't like.
You should always think, what do I believe deep down that mirrors this experience?
Good.
Because it's always a mirror.
Yeah.
And we see it most often in our relationships. So the people that are triggering you are actually having a message for you.
That's very true, because it's not always just a financial issue or something. Sometimes it is about a relationship. So
of course,
it's about worthiness a lot, isn't it?
Yes, very much.
Tell me about that, worthiness.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the number one theme that I see in people. All the people that I coach, all the people that I train, all the people that I talk to, when you go deep down to the core issue, it is always about worthiness, about feeling worthy of having or of being, or feeling unworthy. And it seems that we are somehow programmed on a deep level, feeling not worthy enough. And so that really needs to change.
Yeah, this is our big work.
I
It really
so.
is.
Yes.
Tell me how the harmonic egg can help with things like worthiness.
Well, I already said that everything is energy, and that what we deep down believe, we attract, sort of, we manifest. And the harmonic egg is actually a sort of an intention magnifier, you could almost say. It helps you manifest your intention, and it helps you reprogram yourself. So, but the first thing that is necessary is that you are conscious of it, that you are conscious of the things that are bothering you. So that's where I and my coaching skills come in. I help people become conscious of the deep down themes that are playing out. And then we formulate an intention, which is another version of you in the quantum field.
Great.
Because all different realities exist at the same time. So the version of you at this moment, but also much more evolved versions of yourself. So I'm helping the people to tune into this version that they long for, and the harmonic egg helps you become a magnet or a resonance with this version of yourself.
Beautiful. All right, so tell me, what's the process? Like, if somebody comes to you, what happens? They walk in the door, and then?
Yes, first you get an email from us with an intake form. So we have some questions and it's actually for us to get a picture of who you are and what are the problems that you are facing, what are the desires that you have. And also some medical things, if they are appropriate for us to know. Then when people come in here, we first have a talk, and this talk is actually to get to know the deeper layer of what's going on. Because when people write, it's they have their own knowledge about what is going on, but I want to get to the core of things. So we have this conversation for me to get really clear, and for the person that's going into the egg also to get really clear on what's going on. And that has two parts, the thing that's going on that you don't really like anymore and what you're longing for. And when we have those things clear, we make an intention. So we formulate a really clear intention, and then people go into the egg. But first I tune into them and also check what kind of music do we choose for this subject. We actually have, I think, almost 70 different types of music, and they all have different instruments and different compositions. And the harmonic egg works in this way that we use instruments for different ailments and different outcomes.
Beautiful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for instance, if someone has trauma, we use drumming. And if someone longs for more divine connection, we have also more like the cello or the piano. So
what about if people have things like with money issues or abundance? Do you have a trilling for that?
Yes, we have a lot of songs for abundance manifestation, for instance.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So tell me a little more about, so they come in, you choose this, and then what?
Yeah, so we choose the song, the music and the color, and then we go into the egg, and I show the egg to people. I tell them how it works. People can sit in the egg. There's a really nice zero gravity chair in it, so nice. I'll lay them down in the position that they like, and then we tune into the intention. I always say I read it out aloud, and once you hear my words, you just go into it.
Beautiful.
And then actually I say to the people, just let it go. It's not important that you hold on to this intention for 50 minutes, because the session will take you 50 minutes, 50.
Yeah, 50.
And the music is 40 minutes and then 10 minutes of silence. But the best is to just surrender your intention to the quantum field, to God, or whatever you want to name it or call it, and just be in the moment and feel what's happening inside of your body. And some people fall asleep because it's deeply relaxing, but we also have people that are really sensitive and feel that they are being worked on. They said they worked on here, and then it was there, and then it was there, and they feel all these different kinds of sensations.
Because it's multidimensional. So
exactly.
In all those fields, there's possibilities that there's other entities that work with us, or that those entities are a part of us. You know?
Exactly.
We don't
and it works on different levels. So it works physically, but also on all your energy bodies. So it depends on how sensitive you are, what you can feel. And so we have people who get out of the egg and they're like, whoa, this is something like ayahuasca trip.
Yeah.
Some people have deeply spiritual experiences or mystical experiences. And I also have my best friend, she lives in Norway, she's a psychic. She's very well developed in these subtle layers and dimensions, and she actually can see everything that happens. So she can see deep down in her DNA, but also deep down in all dimensions. So it's beautiful, and she also helps me a lot with translating what the egg is doing, because we are still learning as well.
Of course. And I think it is that. It's very humbling because we are learning, right?
Exactly.
And so we know that we're in this huge shift of going from 2 to 12 strands of DNA that are going to be activated in us. What will that look like? What will the human look like? Well, very different than the human today. So I think that everyone's kind of here on the planet at different levels. And so, of course, people will have different experiences.
Exactly.
But I know from talking to Gail, Lynn, that even people come who have like a trauma and they just know they haven't been happy. Maybe they couldn't sleep, maybe they couldn't. And have you experienced that too? That like things like that. So it doesn't,
we have actually all types of people in the harmonic egg. So my friend Jant, the psychic, she's in a different league than we have. It's everything. Also, for instance, my mother-in-law, she comes into the egg because of her health.
Great.
She has lots of pain in her body because of arthrose and arthritis, and the egg helps her to sleep better. Once she has been in the egg, she doesn't feel the pain that much, and she will be that way for at least a week. The pain will be less. So, and we have all these different levels. So you can come in the Harmonic Egg for these things, pains and sickness and illness, but also for your spiritual development.
And emotional, of course.
Yes,
emotional
of course.
issues.
Yes, exactly. Beautiful. Yes, because one thing that comes to mind is that I've seen people that had issues, for instance, with a certain trigger, like memory of something that happened to them that was very painful.
So like a post-traumatic stress symptom almost.
Almost not so severe. The instance that I'm thinking about is not that severe, but it was still a trigger, and it was like when she thought about it, she would be in a really not helpful mental state. And she brought that into the Harmonic Egg, and once she came out, the trigger was gone.
Beautiful.
So now when she thinks about this experience, she's okay. It's not painful anymore. So it works on different levels.
You said that people are in for 15 minutes, then they come out, then you talk about what happened. And how many sessions do they normally have? I mean, obviously you said your mother-in-law comes every week,
yes.
But it's not normal. What is normal? I guess there's no normal.
She has just this luxury position that she can come here every time that she wants. We recommend 3 to 10 times in order for you to really change something. Yeah, so if you want to change some issue in your body or in your mind or in your energy field, it's 3 to 10 sessions, because this healing is a process. Marvelous. And it's not, some people come here and they want to just experience it for once, and that's fine too. But if you really want to work on something, it's much better to come more often.
Yeah, and you hear that also with ayahuasca, because the people go to these places for 2 weeks and they do it a number of times. So it's the same. It's like you're kind of, if you look at an egg, you're sort of opening and peeling the onion, and it takes a little time because we have so many programs. Exactly. We have no idea how much.
That's true. And it's also very interesting, I think, that when I have this talk prior to the session, we set the intention, and the client works on things, they work on something, but then they get out and then they said, well, this went totally about something completely different. So it's also that it's something a little bit humbling, that we with our mind try to think that we know how it's going to be, but then it's going to be totally different. So it's also good to go with that flow. And
isn't that life? That's life, right?
Yes. And then we are not the most intelligent ones. You know, I mean, there's sometimes we get help from more intelligent entities or whatever, and they interfere, but then they interfere in a good way.
Beautiful. I think we're going to learn more about that in the coming years, and I think some people are already very much tuned to that. Anyone that's listening here that is in tune to that, we know that. I'm curious a little bit about some experiences that you've had. How long have you had the Harmonic Egg?
Well, actually, we have it now for 1 year. The egg had her birthday in May.
Wonderful.
So we've had like a lot of people since then, and we have had very different experiences. We had for instance, we had one client who had a frozen shoulder, and she couldn't lift her arm, like she could lift it like this. And when she went into the Harmonic Egg, she suddenly could wash her hair again, and she could lift her arm up again. So that's very physical. Very physical experiences. And then I already told you a little bit about these experiences from the other clients. Sometimes people get in with, for instance, we had that a lot of last year, fear of speaking out, fear of being yourself and just giving your own opinion, standing for your own.
Maybe putting a boundary with people.
Also, but also just in the interaction with other people, last year, for instance, there was a lot about being vaccinated or not,
Yeah,
and people had opinions about this. We had people in the Harmonic Egg that found it very difficult to just be themselves and communicate their opinion in a tranquil way. So the Harmonic Egg helps you to become more balanced and more in tune with who you really are. And after a few sessions, she was okay, and she could really be relaxed in the company of people who think differently and tell her own version of her reality without being nervous, for instance.
Yeah, there has been a big lesson spiritually for humanity in the last couple years. And I think that is one of them, the difference of the duality, to go above that.
Exactly, and to
okay.
express yourself. It has to do with your throat chakra, obviously, but also with trauma in your childhood that made you feel insecure, for instance. So we have all kinds of different experiences with people.
Wonderful. This is so interesting, all these stories. Do you have any more that you want to share about maybe, you shared one on physical, but maybe there's another on a physical level?
Yes. Actually, we have a lot of those examples. I'm now thinking about this girl who has this handicap from birth. And because of this handicap, she has different sorts of neurological problems. And she went into the Harmonic Egg twice, and she felt a relief in those neurological problems. And for her, it was about the signal that her brain gave to her organs in order for her to go to the toilet in a normal way. Oh. And it was very helpful for her. It's been a relief, actually. She saw things become better in a way that she had never seen before.
Okay. So, and how about on the soul level? Have you seen people become more connected?
Exactly, yes. Yes, we've seen different people who came to us because they are in this process of awakening, and many people want to become more in tune with their intuition and with their guidance. And what we have seen is that when people come more often, like every 2 weeks for like 10 times, we have seen big shifts in their becoming more aligned with who they really are, walk into the egg with a question and getting instant answers. So
they're more connected.
Yes, exactly. And they are beautiful. More than able to navigate life in a way that is in alignment with their soul's purpose. So that's very beautiful.
Where do you see yourself developing in the next 5-10 years? Where do you see?
Well, it's our plan to make the Harmonic Egg much more accessible in Europe, because we are now the first Harmonic Egg in the Netherlands, and there are only 2 Harmonic Eggs in England, United Kingdom, and further on there are no Harmonic Eggs. So my husband and I are the salespersons of the Harmonic Egg for Europe, and we are actually now in the process of making the Harmonic Eggs in the Netherlands. So it's our aim to make it more accessible for a lot of more people.
And more available, perhaps.
Exactly,
right?
That's what I mean, more available.
We looked in New York City, for instance, this is happening everywhere, for some of the new technologies, also the Blue Room, and they're not everywhere yet. So it's really the beginning, but it does happen. Like in New York, it wasn't in New York City, but it was in New Jersey. So it is coming, and I think, but I admire you for this goal. But you also have you teach, right? You continue to be an instructor of your method.
Yes.
Yes. So, and that's in the Netherlands. It's for Dutch people.
Yes, and that's true. I train coaches in this methodology that I developed, and yes, I see this as a very important phase also, that more coaches are teaching their clients how to become the conscious manifester of our reality, so we can shift together more quickly.
So Kirsten, thank you so much for the interview. Thank you for everything you've shared today. I wish you all the best in your work. It's been really a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
Welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing. See you next month.